love my anime, and in this video I will be showing you guys how I made FeltyRosa. FeltyRosa is a unit from the CardFightVanguard anime and trading card game. I do not own CardFightVanguard. I am simply a fan that likes to make plushies of the different units from the series. So this isn't exactly a step-by-step instruction video, but just for you guys to watch me making FeltyRosa and the process of it. So right here I am simply cutting out the already traced pieces of her clothes that I drew, and then I just use this tracing paper to cut out the pieces for it. I already have the basic body finished, and that's in a different video if you guys want to know how to make it. Then afterwards I take the pieces and I trace it onto the correct color felt that is associated with the pieces that I cut out. There are some more parts to her that I cut out later on, because in the beginning I kind of forgot that, I needed them. So you'll see me tracing some parts now, and then later on just free-handedly cutting out other parts of her outfit later. When I usually make these plushies, I try to go for the different parts of their body. So I start off with leg parts, then the torso, then arms, and then finally the head. So right now I am working on her skirt. So I'm going to be focusing on the lower part of her outfit now. So skirt, shoes, socks, that kind of stuff. So I am slowly pleating the skirt for her, folding the fabric and sewing it up to make that pleated effect. And now I am attaching that to the actual body. So it takes some trial and errors here to get it to the right spot. But once I do, I basically just sew it on, and there I have now moved on to making her long socks, which I've used masking tape to tape around the leg, and then use that to trace it out on the correct color. So I jumped ahead here, where now she has both of her long over the knee socks on, and now I'm simply adding more details to her shoes that she has. And again, it takes some trial and errors to make sure that I have the right size. Sometimes I might trim it down or change the shape. And I like to use pins to hold things down before I use hot glue to glue very small details in place. So now I'm simply using a green thread to add kind of like a stripe that her socks have. Her over the knee socks have this green stripe on them, so I used a green thread for that. Alright, now it's time to move on to her torso, and these are all the parts that I will be using for her torso. Well, not all of them, but the parts that I cut out, and later I'll be cutting out more parts. I put the green part on her waist, which is where it goes now, front and back. And then I am grabbing another needle so that I can use some green thread to sew up those two parts onto her body. And once again, I simply just use the ladder stitch for every single time I sew any of my plushies up. Now that it's finished, I'm adding the top part of her outfit where she has this black, I don't know what to call it. It's not really a jacket, but you know, it's a school uniform basically. But I'm putting the back side first, and in the front side, she actually wears like a white shirt or button up underneath, but I'm simply just putting this triangle piece to mimic or pretend that she is wearing a full-on piece underneath, because you don't really need to make that whole entire piece. You know, you're not going to see it because it'll be covered with other parts of her clothes, as you guys will see soon. So just as before, I am now sewing up the top part of her body. I've moved on to the torso part, making her outfit or sewing it on her. And I'm also trimming it down, you know, it's taking my time to make sure that it is the correct size and shape, so on. Right, so she also has this white collar that goes around her neck, which I believe is part of her white outfit that she wears underneath, or her shirt. And I've also added a black collar that goes around her black jacket as well. Now she is sleeveless, but I will be working on her arms in just a bit. Right here I'm adding the little tiny yellow buttons. I have like a small dab of hot glue on it, and I use, you know, colored markers for the fabrics to just give it that touch up to make it look more cleaner. Now I am again using the black marker, and I also use some green thread to trace around the collar of her outfit to give it that green line that her school outfit has. Okay, so here she is so far. This is what her outfit looks like. And now I'm going to make a small bow to add to the front of her outfit. So it took me quite some tries to get the bow to be the correct shape. I had to look at images of her outfit over and over to actually see how small the bow was and what the shape of it was as well. I wanted the bow to, you know, be all roughly, you know, like the bow is, but I also didn't want the white part of her outfit to be covered. So in the end, once I got the bow trimmed down to the correct size, I also pulled down her black part of the outfit just slightly so that the white part would be exposed and it would look similar to what the image of her looks like. And again, I simply just used hot glue to glue it right on, and it, you know, sticks on pretty well. right now I'm simply using a felt marker to add black stripes to the bow, and I also am adding black stripes all the way across her skirt as well, because that is what her outfit has. Alright, so now I have moved on to the arms. I am simply adding a white part to them because it is supposed to mimic that she has the other long white button up underneath. And I am now sewing it on her arm, one arm at a time, using the ladder stitch as before. Alright, so here she is now, and of course I am now making the back side bow to her outfit. This bow is gonna be much larger than the front bow. She has a very big bow. I'm adding the black stripe detail to it now as well, and gluing on the extra pieces and then attaching it onto the back side. Alright, so basically her outfit is all finished now, and now I am moving on to her hair. I have pre-traced her hair and used masking tape on her head to kind of trace out what her hair would look like, then use tracing paper. And now I am pinning it onto pink fabric and cutting out the pre-traced shapes. So she does have pigtails, which later on I will be free cutting, as in I don't have a pre-traced pattern for it when I was making her, but once I did finish, then later on I did actually trace out the pattern for her hair as well. Alright, so now I am sewing on each side of her hair, where her pigtails are going to be extending from. First left side, then the right side. Alright, now that I have that part of the hair sewn on, right here is where you can see me but cutting out the pigtails without any patterns. I am literally just winging it. It's all about just how you think the pigtails would look the best. That's the best way I can explain it. Right now I'm adding a black stripe around it to mimic a hair tie, and just using a tiny dab of hot glue to keep it in place. Of course, each and every time I snip a little bit of any extra parts that I don't like off, clean it up. And I know most of the time I'm doing this off screen because my hot glue was kind of far from the camera and I couldn't get it to reach. But right now I am just adding more details to her hair, adding more bows, more strands. Oh yes, I have also added her bangs as well. I know this video is pretty sped up, but This whole entire video, or making her, actually took me up to 9 hours to make. Yes, that is how long the entire process of making her took. And this video was paused. I did not film every single part of her journey being made. And finally, I am at the part where I'm adding her face. I use transfer paper to print out her eyes, then use thread for her mouth, and finally, here she is, just adding one more slight detail to her tiny little bows. And well, there we go. Here she is, guys. Here is FeltyRosa. I know there's a lot of detailed parts that I sped through through this, but yeah, you know, this is the basic way that I make FeltyRosa. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you all like the way she turned out. I love making these plushie dolls for people that, you know, love them as much as I do and that ask me to make them. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!